Hey guys, Ryan with Rigs of Death Metal here again. Today we're going to be checking out this sick plugin here. This is called D-Bleed and it is from THR Audio. It's been out for a minute. You might have seen a slightly more popular plugin that does a lot of the same stuff called Silencer. That's by Black Salt Audio. The guys over at THR were kind enough to send this over to us to check out and show you guys. And I gotta be honest, for what this retails for, which, what is it, like 50, 60 bucks maybe? This thing is indispensable for. I will never mix live drums again without this plugin. For those of you that are either new to mixing or whatever, this is essentially the best gate for your drums that I've ever seen. It takes a lot of the guesswork out, has some useful presets and everything as like a good starting point. It just makes gating your drums so much simpler, which, again, if you're kind of a beginner with recording and mixing your own drums, you have a lot of what is referred to as mic bleed. You're miking a live drum kit. A lot of those mics are in very close proximity to the rest of the drum kit, especially metal drummers keep everything nice and close because they're going 200 to 250 BPM, whatever, so it's a lot of extra noise. Like, you got a lot of extra mic bleed from the cymbals coming through on your tom mics, right? So you want to try to mitigate that the best that you can. So I'm going to show you two different sessions here utilizing D-Bleed. The first one is going to be this rock band that I am mixing. It's a client that I've gotten recently. Hired me to mix a recorded live set of theirs, and it was actually captured really well, which is great for me. And I am using D-Bleed on the kick, snares, toms, literally everything but overhead, right? I'm just going to go ahead and quit talking. I'm going to play this for you real quick and let you hear this in action. And you'll kind of see what it's doing here. This is obviously the one for the kick, but I have a separate example of each of these on each track. Yeah, that's enough to give you the idea here. You can see I'm even a little bit more, little bit more come through on the snares, just because I don't want to choke out all the frequencies. And it's very minimal on the snare bottom. For toms, it's a little bit more extreme. A little bit, nothing, the kick and the snare I'm very picky about, because it always, those are the two things that stand out the most in a mix. Next would be the cymbals. I don't put any D-Bleed I don't use that whatsoever on the cymbals. I just kind of EQ them a little bit. Just a high pass filter, and kind of shaping some of the bright top end that you're obviously going to get from cymbals. Toms, I want them to be pretty resonant still for something like this. Again, grunge. So think like a Steve Albini kind of thing. You want it kind of roomy sounding. You definitely don't want it too choked out. But at the same time, you don't want to just go completely raw with it either. Because if you don't gate whatsoever, the problem you're going to run into is a buildup of frequencies that you don't want. It's whether that be high end or low end, which is kind of interesting between the two mixes I'm going to show you. With this one, I actually had a buildup of kind of like some low end. This is kind of a dark sounding. This was actually a live set of theirs at a local venue, and I guess it's just. And I've played there. I wouldn't have thought of it at the time, but listening to these recordings, it just seems like kind of a dark sounding room. It's not super lively, not very bright at all. I actually had to brighten up a lot of the stuff in here EQ wise, like the vocals and guitars. But yeah, so pretty modest settings there. So now I'm just going to go ahead and show you if it'll load up here. There we go. So now this is a mix for my band, my black metal band Gorthauer. For this song, this is our song Body of Blades. This is our first single, and it's out now on streaming if you're interested at all in that. Yeah, this is again live drums. This is our drummer Lucas. We recorded in his concrete basement. So unlike the last mix, I had a ton of buildup in the higher treble frequencies on this drum kit. It was so bright and shimmery sounding. It was rough. And that's no, you make do with what you got. Right? We don't have funds to go to, some big fancy studio with a very nicely dialed in, well-constructed room. We did this guerrilla style. I was sitting beside his drum kit with a laptop and his 10-channel, interface, and just recording him in the room. Just what we worked with what we had. And as you can see, really didn't even have that many mics to work with. Yeah, I had like 7 mics here. 7 mics, which pretty commonplace to use anywhere between 10 to 15 mics in most drum recordings. Not even just metal, just drum recordings in general. This is a pretty old school, like borderline like John Bonham, Led Zeppelin level of mics. Just a kick, snare, not even a snare top and bottom, just snare. 1 mic for our rack toms, 1 mic for floor, stereo overhead mics, and then a room mic, which realistically we maybe could have done without the room mic and done like another tom mic or even the bottom of the snare, but hey, whatever. Anyway, enough rambling. As you can see, my settings are a bit more extreme, especially on the there's still, it's not magic, right? There's still a little bit coming through, but you're adjusting the noise and frequency threshold, essentially, like reducing the noise floor of everything else going on. Not the most technical explanation, but you get the idea. And again, I don't use any of that stuff on the overheads whatsoever, or the room, because I mean that's the whole point, is you're supposed to be using it, trying to eliminate extra room sound. You know, hats off to our drummer Lucas. Dude's a beast, and hits the drums very, very hard, which you know, is what you want. You want everything to come through super, super, super clear. And it's kind of one of those funny things, like you want all the hits to come through clear and loud and punchy. But the trick is then afterwards to deal with all the awful, awful mic bleed that you will inevitably have from that. Because obviously if you're hitting that hard, it's going to make the mic bleed worse. So it's you know, it's a problem that you're going to have to deal with, because that's, you know, it's the whole point, right? You to get the performance you want, there are workarounds that you need to do to make it, you know, on the technical side of things you have to do to make these sounds work. Mixing metal is very difficult. You know, they say it on, for those that may or may not watch URM Academy, I know A.L. Levy talks about, you know, metal possibly being one of the more, if not the most difficult genre to mix, just because you're trying to make a wall of noise intelligible and articulate and clear. And, you know, that's where stuff like this comes in handy. Because, I mean, otherwise, you know, some of the alternatives you could try, and this is what I did before. Like PreSonus has a gate plugin here. It's not as straightforward. It doesn't work as good. It's definitely not as intuitive, you know. D-Bleed for me, it just makes sense. It takes a lot of guesswork out of it. Again, you have some presets here to get you at least started. You might need to adjust the threshold depending on, you know, the recordings and your drummer and all that stuff. But for me personally, this is now a go-to. This will go on any drum session, on any recording session where I have live drums. Now, if you're a program drum guy, there's no need for this. You have samples. There is no mic bleed with samples. The problem, you know, maybe I can do another video talking about trying to make program drums sound more realistic, you know, messing with things like reverb and adjusting compression, and, you know, how not to over process already processed drum samples. Because, you know, I've done it. I'm sure plenty of other new guys out there have done that, where you watch instructional, you know, recording videos, and they tell you, oh yeah, you know, dial in your compressor like this, and they're showing you how to dial in a compressor for a live drum kit that has zero processing, as opposed to a drum sample library that has already been recorded and EQ'd and compressed all to hell. If that's something you guys are interested in, like my approach with program drums, then leave a comment down below. But as far as now, I'm still pretty new to this world, as I'm sure anybody with more recording experience can lampoon some of my decisions and things that I'm doing here. You know, I'm open for constructive criticism. It's how we all learn. It's how we get better. But as of right now, this is kind of my process. And as you see here, I use an SSL style EQ. This one is by Analog Obsession. This is a free one. I use mostly freeware because I feel weird spending a ton of money on digital plugins that I don't physically have and can go away anytime. So freeware or cheap software. dBleed is extremely affordable, which is why I'm completely... It's extremely affordable and it makes my life easier. Why not? Besides, there's not a whole lot of hardware out there that will do this. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, so SSL style EQ to do all your general shaping of frequencies. I like a really snappy, almost clicky kind of kick drum. Not a lot of mids and some boomy kind of lows, without getting too much into the bass guitar territory. From there, you go into your drum gate. Definitely want to use something like dBleed, maybe silencer, but I don't really know why you would want to spend more when this does all the same stuff. Hey, to each their own. Then from there, I go into a VCA or an FET style compressor. I'm just very, very comfortable with the Soft2 VCA compressor, so I kind of make this my go-to. Faster attack, slower release, 4-to-1 ratio, about 8 dB of compression in this case. Mileage will vary. Then I'll do another, some a little bit more dialing in with this. I use the JST EQ, and just boosting and cutting some other frequencies that I think maybe got missed by the SSQ. And then lastly, I'll use this clipper or any kind of clipper or transient shaper will do fine. I like the simplicity of the JST clip, and you can see how I kind of have that dialed in here. I do the trim back to 1.4 dB, and honestly, it's very similar across everything. Yeah, basically use all the same stuff. I guess I use this. This is kind of like a freeware copy of a Distressor compressor, which is just a very, very popular compressor or limiter style compressor from, I can't remember who makes that, but everyone knows the Distressor, the black and white with the big white knobs. Yeah. As you're messing with this stuff, you'll kind of learn what types of compressors or whatever you prefer for different things. And then, yeah, again, I use the VCA compressor a little bit on the overheads and the room just to get some, honestly, just volume out of them. Again, more EQ just to tame the ridiculous sound of the overheads. And then on the actual drum bus, I have another example of the, was it XT Max Distressor clone. You see the settings here, and yeah, as you can see by the preset, I'm kind of using this more of like just a general limiter. Well, I guess it's still serving more as a compressor, because then I'm also running into the CLA 76, which is an 1176 clone. This is from Waves. I picked this up pretty cheap. I think it was like 20-30 bucks. Which there's plenty of, affordable copies out there. Aurora DSP makes one. And I know it's good. I've seen a lot of guys get good sounds out of that one, but for whatever reason, it doesn't work on mine. I don't know why. I load up that one and it makes my whole, it makes Studio One crash. All my other Aurora DSP plugins work, by the way. No idea what's up with that one. Anyway, so yeah, for the drum bus, I go compressor into a limiter and then a clipper again. And then I have, let me remove that. I have the drum bus. I have an effect send going into the Rotten Pool reverb. This is from Aurora DSP in collaboration with Cola Audio Cult. And this is just to add, well, hell, I'll let you hear it. Hang on a second. It's just a really, really good, useful sounding like mixed reverb. I like it for drums, and I actually ended up using it on the vocals as well. I'll let you hear that, even though this isn't about drums. Just useful stuff. I just felt like giving Aurora DSP a shout out because they've been great to me too. But yeah, so that is my workflow for mixing live drums. I want to thank THR Audio for sending me D-Bleed. Gotta have it. You have to have it. I have to have it. It is my buddy Jason Baker, who did Nephilim Fall with me. He told me it's basically that and silencer, like these kind of smart gates are, it's like easy mode for drum mixing. And he was right. While I'm at it, we're also going to shout out Aurora DSP because they gave me their everything bundle and I use tons of their stuff. Analog Obsessions, also handy stuff to have. Definitely ought to check them out. Everything they have is free unless you just want to donate to them. With that said, this has been the D-Bleed plugin from THR Audio. And if you are interested in checking this out, there will be a link down below. Help your boy out and get a little bit. If use my code, I get a little bit of a kickback. And they got it's already a pretty affordable plugin, but they got crazy good deals on it all the time. Yeah, if you are working on your own mixes at home, or maybe you're getting into the world of recording and you're actually far enough to where you want to start taking on clients, trust me, this is going to speed up your workflow and just make everything that much easier and getting work out the door that much faster. It's worth the modest price tag that they are asking for. Check it out, and we will see you next time. Peace.